Oh, hello. I wasn't expecting you. During a gloomy winter, it's nice to warm your bones by the fire. It gets me in the holiday spirit. I can see in your eyes that you have an appetite for the strange and unexpected. I'll admit, I also thrill at unearthing the morbid mysteries. You see, I'm the Gravedigger. One Christmas night, I was visited by 3 ghosts. I promised I'd wash their sheets, and I thought I could ghost them. In the past, we've shared short films with lurid storylines, but tonight, as we're entombed at home alone with our holiday cheer, we look inside the heads of the storytellers. Those that probe the dark corners and hidden places in search of loose change and story ideas. The twisted minds of the Fetoids. Now, I'm not going to let them shower me with their polluted particulates in person, but they can always be reached by skelephone. Christina King, let us into your skull. KK, Gravedigger here. Tell us about yourself.
Hi, I'm Christina King. Been part of the Fetoid crew since inception, probably 2007 or so. I play a variety of roles, sometimes direct, produce, whatever is needed.
I know you have a sister. Any favorite sibling stories?
Let's see. This would be in Berlin, I think. You learn that this frog guy was a drunkard, and he killed a guy, and he went to hell. Meanwhile, all these stern Germans were looking at me. But my sister and I did spend a lot of time listening to Bryan Adams and Def Leppard. And that is my favorite experience with Sam. We became so close afterwards, bonding over the delicate nature of life, death, and alcohol.
That's deep. And a Gravedigger knows deep. Got anything light and fun?
We decided to go to Disneyland a couple of years ago, in our 30s, with a group of friends, and it looks all innocent and sweet. We climbed aboard. I had never been inside. My partner at the time and I were trying to get from one place to another, quite late at night, a little drunk. The ride is in the children's part of the park, and I got on the bus, and he was still standing outside of the bus, and I was trying to communicate with the driver how to pay. They're very strict about rules, and he just pointed me to the back of the bus, shut the door, and drove away, while my partner stood outside, not knowing what to do, state of panic, not speaking the language. It turns out Mr. Toad's Wild Ride is terrifying.
Yeah, toads. They've always frightened me. Got any fun stories from set?
Probably like 2008. We were driving to somebody else's house to film, and we had a big crate of costumes, courtesy of Dave the Great. He'd been collecting these for years. There were some bridal gowns, among other things. He unloaded them from the truck, set them beside the car so we could take them into the shooting location, and we all started loading things into the house, came back out, and this big fucking wooden crate full of costumes was nowhere to be seen. We determined that it's Portland. If something sits near a curb, it becomes free. If it's abandoned for 5 seconds, it's free. It's free box law. is absolutely crushing. Like, these are years worth of costumes. No way to make the guy feel better. And there's a lesson my high school English teacher, Paul Hulupa, taught us, and it was, take a chance, lose your pants. When Dave walked in the house and we were all standing on a staircase trying to figure out how best to shoot something, we all dropped trowel. I figured that was the true meaning of that lesson learned in high school. Dave was okay after that.
Ah, the healing power of pantslessness. Going into the new year, what creative mountains do you hope to climb?
I pre-ordered a fancy new sewing machine that has way better tension control than what I have now, and some sort of LCD screen where I can choose from some absurd number of stitches. And I am super excited to up my costume game, maybe up some things for Fetus and Fetu, start building a wardrobe, if you will. Not like a normal person wardrobe, but like what I have now, but weirder. But that's going to be creatively 2021 because we'll still probably be shooting in separate locations and splicing things together that way. But I hope to keep working with the team. I miss everybody and I'm sad.
Ah, sadness. What a lovely note to end on. Christina King, goodbye. I was once at a New Year's party when a short man was so excited for the new year that he tried to pull down the grandfather clock for a kiss. But then, midnight struck. Ryan Castro, you have a psychic skull call.
Yeah.
Hey, Ryan. Tell us of your time as a fetoid.
Oh, hi. I'm Ryan Castro. I've been a member of Fetus and Fetu for like 6 or 7 years. Usually, I'm a focal point of the action when something horrible happens to someone. Tends to be me.
It's a noble calling. Give us a sibling story.
My best memory with a sibling, I would say it's probably when I was about 7 years old and my brother was around 5. We were both reading books, and he didn't like the one that he had, so he wanted to read the one that I had.
What?
But I was still reading it, so I told him no.
Of course, that's not fair.
And then he took the book that he had and he threw it directly at my face from a few feet away and broke my nose.
Are you kidding me? Ryan, just say the word and I'll show him my shovel.
Yeah, that's a good name.
Oh, well that's nice then. Tonight I want to hear bus stories. Indulge me?
My worst experience on public transportation was this one time when I was on the Max and there were 2 competing street preachers. One was at the front of the car and he was preaching about how much Jesus loves you, and the other one was at the back of the car and he was preaching about how much Jesus hates you. And they kind of just met in the middle and started having a knockdown all-out brawl. This was probably about 3 feet from me. I got hit in the head with a Bible. Yeah, that was fun.
A Bible? Well, I hope your burns have healed. Now, the Fetoids aren't the only ragtag film team you've worked with, correct?
My best experience making a film with a group of people was back in 2013, when everyone got drunk beforehand. And oh man, we were trying to set up the right angles, the right shots, but we just couldn't do it. And finally, people started sobering up and we started pointing things properly. We started getting lights set up fine. We're like, yeah, we're gonna do this. And then the lighting got all screwed up. And we're like, what's going on? Why is the lighting so screwed up? Can we adjust the lamps, get everything back in place? And then we realized that the sun had come up. It was like 6 a.m. and we'd been filming for 7 hours and had maybe 40 seconds of usable footage. That was great.
The night is my most productive time as well. In the coming year, what creative projects do you hope for?
In 2021, my creativity is probably going to be limited to finding new and inventive ways to sneak away from the roving groups of cannibals and slavers that will be inhabiting the wasteland that we formerly knew as the United States. I might get a film project or 2 in there, though. That'd be nice.
Well, I hope you do. And thank you for your optimism. Ryan Castro, goodbye. They say it's darkest before the dawn, unless 6 feet of dirt obstructs your view. Another Fetoid. Godiva Lee. Open your regular-sized skull to a tiny psychic skull.
Oh, hello.
Hello, Godiva. It's the Gravedigger. Sorry to have scold-called you, but let's hear about you.
Me, I'm Godiva Lee, and I've been with Fetoid 2 years now. I'm best known as playing the sexy village idiot. And audio, and I also do audio.
You're very good at making sure scream levels don't peak. Give us a bus story. I'm obsessed.
Okay. Alright, so the only time that I ever had assigned seating on a Greyhound was when they assigned me to sit in the back of the bus, which just happened to also be right next to the bathroom. So couldn't change my seat. It was a packed bus ride, and it just stunk of waste tank that smells like it hadn't been changed in a very long time. I was so close to the bathroom I could hear the brave souls who had tried to go in gagging as they tried to finish their duties. It was great. It was about an 8-hour drive. And I think that was the same bus that we had to pull over because there was a truck that caught on fire.
What an extreme take on lighting a match. What's your favorite Fetoid story?
Severance was... Yes, 2 years ago. Me and 2 other of the actors, Ryan and Rebecca. Ryan had played a scene where I hit him in the face with the butt of an axe, and so we had this huge bruise, makeup over his eye. Rebecca, just because it was cold outside constantly, was wearing an extravagant, like, kind of crushed velvet fur coat. Anyway, we had rented ourselves a hotel room at the end of the night so we could get a couple of hours in. We were trying to check in, and the person behind the front desk was asking continuously to check Rebecca's ID over and over again, photocopied it. Rebecca was like, I don't know why I've never had anybody photocopy my ID or check me this much for my ID when trying to check into a hotel room, and we were so confused. We get into the hotel room and realize that we have a young man in a tattered button-up suit and a giant bruise on his eye, and Rebecca, who looks like a madam who just crawled out of a bog, and a grungy audio tech who's got like spiky jackets, probably like leaves in her hair and shit like that. So we probably just scared the shit out of her. She's expecting to need to give details to some sort of state trooper who comes through looking for a missing businessman or some shit. We calm down, we're having a groovy time, and we leave it open for the rest of the cast as well to come in and sleep whenever they get a chance. And another co-star, Dana, she filmed at I think 2 or 3 in the morning with a freezing cold bucket of fake blood being thrown on her. Finally gets done with the shoot, gets to go to the hotel, is so worn out from filming non-stop, like probably 24 hours straight, and just tries to crawl into bed. She can't even see where we are. She's just so exhausted, like climbing over everybody, like we're having to drag her, like waking up, like, no, there's a free spot over there. She sleeps the longest out of all of us, obviously. She was up the latest. And everybody leaves. She's the last one to wake up. She wakes up and realizes that, yeah, she had forgotten to shower, and having crawled all over the bed and slept solid like a rock in this one spot, it was just blood everywhere and a deep-seated stain of fake blood where she had slept. And she took a look at it and she was like, nope, and just left beginning to start. We gave that front desk clerk the worst run for their money. They probably hated us so much. I don't know how Rebecca got her money back for the deposit on that.
Hopefully, the desk clerk learned what it takes to have fun. Now, what are your creative hopes for the new year?
Once coronavirus dies down or everybody gets vaccinated and we can go out and thrash around and blow our particles up in other people's faces, I'm excited to take the brand new Zoom field recorder that I got right before lockdown happened and interview as many people as I can out in the world and just shove that bare microphone up in everybody's face. 2021.
Maybe you could cut a full album of mouth breathing. But right now, that feels too transgressive. Godiva Lee, Good evening. I usually like opening Christmas presents more than receiving the presents themselves, but this year I got the best of both worlds. An open casket. Nick Survey, give us your mind. Nick, show yourself.
I'm Nick Survey, and I've been a Fetoid for around 6 months now. Since my sole experience with them has been during COVID, most of what I've worked on is acting and then digitally harassing people as a PA. But yeah, I'm looking forward to working more in person with everybody when we get a chance.
We're all looking forward to seeing the flesh of others. Tales from the bus?
It would probably be the time that I hopped on a bus after work to go from Portland up to Seattle, and somebody on that bus just had the worst bathroom experience that I've ever probably experienced that wasn't my own. The entire bus just smelled like a sewage plant, and because I had gotten on it right after work, it sat in rush hour for I want to say 4.5 hours. Multiple people complained. The bus driver had to run the AC. Everybody rolled down windows. It was a bit of a nightmare.
An air freshener salesman on a bus could make a killing. Now, give us a happy memory.
I think that was when my dog was dying.
Oh God.
It's that prior to them passing, we got to go to a park one last time, and that was one of the most bittersweet things that I think I've ever experienced. At that point, he was a golden retriever. He was 14 years old, so he was old. It was his time, but he had stopped eating. His health was pretty rapidly deteriorating, so we knew it was time to put him down. But we decided to take him to a park one last time, and he just ran and chased the ball like a puppy the entire time. So it didn't feel like it was necessary. But as soon as we got back in the car, he started limping again, and so we went to the vet and we put him down. But easily one of my favorite memories was going to the park with that dog.
I'm not crying. I have dirt in my eye. It happens a lot, actually. Favorite Fetoid story?
There was this scene that was called for that needed a lot of screaming, and screaming from both Christina and I, and we were living in an apartment at that point. So I ended up writing a note and taping it to the door of our apartment that basically said, "Hey neighbors, sorry for all this screaming. We're making a movie. Please don't knock. You may ruin the shot." And thankfully no one did or anything, so we didn't have to worry about it. But just the logistics of filming a horror movie in an apartment with shared walls was a fun and funny concept.
So if you write a note saying you're filming, then everyone will ignore the screams? Your next year in creativity?
I'm really hoping to get more into woodworking. I'm starting to amass the tools for it, and I'm thinking that 2021 is going to be the year when I start building things out and actually putting them up in my house. Building bookshelves or nice, pretty, as well as functional woodworking projects.
I may need to speak to you further about pine boxes. Nick Survey. Good night. I just love the sights and smells of the holidays. The Christmas tree pine needles, the New Year's gastrointestinal fluids. Shoo, shoo. Oh, those pesky things. They call the exterminator, but that's how they ended up here to begin with. Nate Ailing. Skelephone call for Nate Ailing. Come on, pick up.
Yeah.
Nate! Speak.
Nathan Ailing. I've been a producer, actor, and writer with Fetoids since 2016, or was it 2015?
It was 2015.
Astro Dame Odyssey was my first movie. I think we've made just under 10 of these. So it's a good thing to forget how many of these you've actually made.
Speaking of memories, favorite Fetoid story?
We spend so much time pushing the YouTube and other ways to watch our old videos that people tend to forget that all Fetoid productions, all Fetus and Fetu movies have all had a theatrical premiere. Every single one of these movies played to a packed theater full of people who were deranged, drunk, or us. And so we've been lucky enough to watch an audience react to our movies. And my favorite reaction probably was AI, autoerotic intelligence, in the scene where Christian Lipsky cuts into KK's leg and then feeds it to her, and there was just an audible groan of disgust across an entire theater. Not a single person felt okay with what was going on, and we were touched. It was one of the most amazing things ever. Second, maybe in Severance, when Margot pops out of the Pinzauer with her shotgun and blows somebody's head off, hearing an entire theater just erupt in applause and cheers. I hope we get that again.
I always cheer a good gruesome death. Hopes for the new year?
2021 is bound to be a new world, one way or the other. The thing I hope for most is that we attract some of this new talent that's out in the world. People who are using TikTok or Twitch or any kind of streaming, who are becoming more comfortable with themselves on a screen. I hope that the 48-hour Film Fest and Fetoid Pictures in general becomes more of a place where we can keep attracting this talent, where people come where they want to make these pseudo-exploitation movies or sci-fi movies, or if they have an idea, they can write it. Or give us money. That's fine either.
We all have to pay the piper in the end. Oh, bus story.
I don't have a Greyhound bus story. I've never been in one.
Well, what about a train story? Or a horse and carriage story? Nate? Nathan Ailing? How do you hang up on a psychic skull call? The holiday season has come to an end, and Santa has gone back to the North Pole, to the vast frozen wastes, to the magical lands of solitary despair. No vacancy, you ectoplasmic pillowcase. Last skelephone call of the night. Benja Barker, our minds are one. Benja.
I'm Benja Barker. I've been with the Fetoids since 2009. I'm a producer, art director, writer, gaffer, actor.
Good. Bus story?
A 17-hour bus ride turned into a 32-hour bus ride because of a blizzard, and we also, a guy had a seizure on the bus, and we had to wait by the side of the freeway for an ambulance to arrive. But I've traveled thousands of miles on Greyhound since then.
That's a choice. Fetoid story?
In 2020, I directed an epic story of a city boy coming home and to his small town friend who was trying to break a family curse. There's ritual human sacrifice and a blood orgy. It's really quite a masterpiece, but we had to shut down production because of an injury that flared up for one of the actors. It was the right call, but even better than that, no one can dispute the evidence that it's my magnum opus.
What are your creative hopes for the new year? I'd like to continue expanding my filmmaking skill sets and work with more creators and maybe do a movie with monsters or aliens. Intriguing. Benja Barker. Goodbye. And now we're at the end of our seasonal revelry. And while I'd prefer Halloween...
Tell your loved ones you care. Caring eases the hardships of life. Share your love and understanding however you can. It is the most important thing in life and death.
That was pretty earnest for a bedsheet. From myself and the rest of the Fetoids, happy holidays. May you and yours have health and happiness. And may the new year not be a putrid mound of burning refuse. Be like a creature of the night, and trust that you will make it through the long, cold darkness.
It's coming, don't try to save me. Grown up and acting crazy. Walks tall, gonna find you. Thinks big, right behind you. This baby's moving pictures just for you. Fever dream on the silver screen. Big and bad, you know what I mean. Dark, heading for your heart. Strangely sexy, tear you apart. Gonna tear you apart, you know. It's coming, don't try to save me. Grown up and acting crazy. Walks tall, gonna find you. Thinks big, right behind you. This baby's moving pictures just for you. Stand it up and turn it around. Image, music, light and sound. A twisted rose and a bloody smile. Living in your head for style. For a long, long while, you know. It's coming, don't try to save me. Grown up and acting crazy. Walks tall, gonna find you. Thinks big, right behind you. This baby's moving pictures just for you. Feed the beast and feel it then. Fetoids gonna do it again. Gonna do it again. Wow! It's coming, don't try to save me. Grown up and acting crazy. Walks tall, gonna find you. Things big, right behind you. This baby's moving pictures just for you.